Future by Rated Pony Star, read by Deathlight. Chapter 2. If there's one thing about Canterlot that I liked most, it was that it didn't change too much. Everything from the buildings to the overall atmosphere spoke of equestrian culture, while some of the cities in the Equine Republic had human designs and influences. Canterlot was the one place that still stayed the same even after the nation stopped being called Equestria. Of course, the only true major difference was the advancement in design, technology, and the fact that humans lived in the city as well. It wasn't too strange to see Christmas-themed decorations, as most of Christmas was similar in design to Heartswarming Eve, only focused more on Jesus Christ. There were even Christian churches in Canterlot since the old religions of Equestria mostly faded out of existence. I myself wasn't registered in any religious organization, but a part of me believed something was out there after death. I thought it best not to focus so much on that, rather than focus on what's in front of me. I try not to think about such things too often, but it's kinda hard not to when you enter a graveyard. Not just any graveyard too, but the royal graveyard. It wasn't used anymore, and too few people went to it nowadays like me. Most of the graves are registered to great heroes of Equestria, members of the royal family, and guards who sacrificed themselves for the greater good. A lot of ponies who rested in this graveyard were those I knew during the war. There was even a small memorial added for all 5 elements of harmony that Twilight put up after AJ and Dash died. Of course, none of my old friends were buried there. Rarity and Pinky's remains were never found and were most likely ashed by now. Fluttershy requested to be buried next to her husband after her death. Rainbow Dash and AJ weren't allowed anything special due to their actions in the terrorist group they joined. Twilight said she had the bodies burned, their ashes scattered. But the truth was, she buried the both of them in the remains of Sweet Apple Acres without any gravestones. There was even a memorial for the Crystal Ponies, including the family of Cadence, Shining Armor, and Flurry Hearts. The one race that actually died out due to the actions of humanity. With many divided, nuking the Crystal Empire was a good idea or not. Barely 200 survived the nuke, but every one of them were sterile from the radiation. Many just ended their lives soon after the war, with a few surviving just living their short lives until the last was dead. There was discussion on what to do with the Crystal Empire's remains now that the radiation was soon to be gone, but most likely it'd be left alone in honor of their memory. I naturally laid the 2 of the 4 BKs I had brought with me to this location. I didn't bother saying prayers. I really didn't think prayers worked anymore. Prayers didn't save my friends or my home. At last, I made it to the tomb. I visited this every time I came to Canterlot, and it was always the first thing I did. The tomb was designed originally for Celestia and Luna soon after we arrived on Earth and learned their immortality was gone. The sisters wanted to be together in death, so it was designed to honor them when they passed on. Twilight herself was part of the design process. When Celestia's horrors were revealed, it was changed to fit only Luna and Twilight instead of Celestia. Everything from the symbols to her glass painting was replaced for Twilight. No pony wanted to see Celestia given a proper resting place. Her remains could be thrown into the sea for all they cared. I pressed my palm against the heavy steel door as the magic sensed me and unlocked the heavy locks. Only those with permission were allowed to enter the tomb and pay their respects to the fallen princesses, but I was the only one remaining who could do so. The torches lit up as I walked inside, passing the flowers and wreaths that were still green and flourishing. Again, thanks to the magic this place held. When I reached the main chamber, I saw a glass ceiling of the former symbol of Equestria, the only thing with Celestia's image that was allowed to stay. Candles and statues of angel ponies surrounded me, looking sad as if ready to cry. There were 2 chambers that led in opposite directions, and I headed to the left one first. It was dark blue, nearly as dark as the night itself. Above, on the ceiling, twinkling lights that acted as stars shined on. The flowers decorating the area were still glowing silver and sparkled. The cutie mark of its holder were on the banners and portraits. The window was designed to let only moonlight enter, and reflecting the center where a glass casket on a blue and silver base rested. Inside was Princess Luna, her peaceful expression staring up at the star she loved so much. In her folded hooves she held the blade that she slew many in war with, a dark hilt, the moonlight symbol for the pommel. The silver sword that never stopped shining even hundreds of years later lay with its master, never to be used again. Luna's death at the Battle of Jerusalem was when many started to believe that the war was no longer winnable. Luna, like Celestia, had been loved and worshipped as a goddess in the eyes of many. When they saw their goddess fall, the faith of so many shattered that day. I wasn't there when Luna's body was brought back to Canterlot, but from what Rainbow Dash told me, it was like seeing Swiss cheese. All those bullets had torn up her body to the point where Celestia had to spend 2 weeks repairing it with magic and money to make it look presentable for the funeral. It was the first time I saw Celestia cry so hard. I wonder if she blamed herself for her sister's death, or blamed humanity even further. Laying my bouquet of flowers on the casket, along with the many others that still lived, I couldn't help but wonder what if again. What if Luna had survived and Celestia died? Would she have continued the war, or stopped after losing so much? Did Luna know of Celestia's true reasoning for sending us to Earth, or was she just in the dark? How would she have reacted if she knew? Would she stand by her sister's side, or denounce her like Twilight did? I sadly didn't know Luna too well, even before the war. I wish I had, but it was too late. I didn't really say anything to Luna's casket. I just stared at her face and wondered if she was at peace. I personally didn't know what happened after death. In the old days, ponies believed in a place called Elysium, where good ponies went after they died to live in paradise. It wasn't too different to heaven in some of the human religions. Some even believed we were destined to be reincarnated into different lives based on our actions. Twilight was the only one who never believed in an afterlife in our group. She thought after you died, you were nothing. A good number of ponies think that now, since the so-called goddesses were long dead. I didn't think that happens. Something must happen when you die. But whatever it was, I guess the dead only know. I just hope that everyone I knew who passed on were happy. I turned away from Luna's casket and made my way to the other hallway. This time, the room was colored lavender with golden trimming. Twilight rested was in here, evidenced by the banners and windows of her cutie mark. Instead of stars above, there were decorated crystal lights carved into the elements of harmony that swirled forever around her like a bunch of halos. Her books, some of which she wrote herself, were in shelves that lined on the walls. Only one book lay in her embrace inside her purple and golden glass caskets. The book that she read, warning about Nightmare Moon during the summer sun celebration on its 1000th year. She said it started her on the path, and she wanted to have it with her when she reached the end. Twilight was decorated in the very same dress she wore to the Grand Galloping Gala for the first time, in honor to Rarity, who made it for her. Her crown was atop her head, still shining bright despite its owner in long eternal slumber. I stared at the one who had been my best friend, teacher, and mother all in one. Even now, she looked more rested than she ever had in her entire life. When she died in bed, it looked like she had finally found peace. A peace that cost me so much heartbreak, but a peace I knew she longed for. "Hey, Twilight," I whispered, placing my flowers on the glass. "Merry Christmas, or Happy Heartswarming too, I guess." I sighed and looked at my feet. Discord doesn't have long. It looks like even he's gonna bite the bullet soon. Guess you and the others will be having a pretty crazy time in heaven, huh? I didn't say anything for a bit. Almost as if I was hoping Twilight would speak something from the glass bed of hers. "I miss you," I said, closing my eyes. "I miss you every day. Sometimes I wonder if I should just take the potion and go human or pony. Just let my final hours tick until I die." but I guess you'd yell at me since that's pretty much suicide. I read the back of my neck. I just want you to know that I'm still going at it. Telling the truth about everything in the war. I'm making sure the same mistakes are never repeated. And we will never again see what happened all those years ago. Opening my eyes, I stared at her for a bit longer, before sighing again. I know you told me to make a future for myself, but I don't know if I can. I turned away upon saying this, and made my way out. I didn't know why I said that, but it was getting hard to deny that I was feeling more and more lonely over the years. Was this really gonna be my future? To keep doing the same thing. Teach, mourn, cry, and repeat over and over again. I need to get some air. I need to see someone. I need to talk to Rebecca. The gallery had changed almost everything it once had when I was last here. New paintings, sculptures, and such could be seen. The unique thing about them all was that they were a mix of both human and pony styles. Most pony styles tend to be simple, dramatic, and colorful. Human ones tend to be darker, complex, and radical. Combining them both was always a challenge. But when it was done right, it was amazing to see. The gallery wasn't as full as it usually was because of the holidays. But my focus was elsewhere. I soon found myself in front of the painting that never stopped making me smile. In it, I could see Rainbow Dash flying in the air, doing her usual stunts to show off and enlarge her ego. Fluttershy was putting some daisies on a sandwich, while her bunny, Angel, was right by her side eating a carrot. She always took him wherever she could, and she loved him more than any other of her pets. Rarity and AJ were talking to each other, and there was a dozen conversations I could think of them having. Those two were closer as friends than most ever realized despite the differences, and the respect they had for each other was bigger. Of course, Pinkie Pie stood out the most, looking directly at me and waving her hoof. Even after all these years, her legendary abilities were still known. Sometimes, I kid you not, I could even see that image of her winking at me as if to say I'm okay. And then there was Twilight, not the Princess Twilight, but the original Twilight. The unicorn who was reading a book while I was nearby, still a baby dragon, setting up the picnic stuff. This painting, which never came down, was never the most famous or the most loved. But to me, it was the most perfect. Because this was who we were. We weren't heroes, villains, or rebels. We were just friends. Friends who cared and loved each other and just wanted to spend all those carefree days together. I wonder if there was a world where the war didn't happen, that we didn't come to Earth. Would I and everyone else be happy? I knew I'd find you here. I heard a familiar whisper that made me jump a little. My smile increased as I turned around to see a light brown long-haired woman, dressed in a blue suit, smiling at me with the clear blue eyes from behind her glasses. The artist herself had graced me with her presence. Hello, Spike. Hello, Rebecca.